Well, the power.
Say you've got a guy running for office, right? He's collecting millions of dollars for campaign.
Right.
If we're all responsible for those votes, but suddenly those votes become really important, they're harder to corrupt, they're harder to just manipulate with few ad campaigns on television. One thing they ought to do is create jobs. If people have to go around door knocking on issues that are important to them because they're representing or trying to influence a vote based on an issue that's important to them. If there is some kind of a funding for that particular issue, you're going to have to spread that out amongst how many different people they're going to have to actually go out and canvass for that issue instead of it all going to one tour bus. You see what I'm saying?
I do.
So it creates jobs. It might not, and even if that were to take place, and influence voters with people going locally and voting on each specific issue, one thing it does is you don't have this huge campaign season that lasts almost 2 years.
It's like a little dog and pony show, and then it's over, and then we wait till
it's like this
the next
glue that you can't get over because you have to put up with all these campaign issues and so much energy to put into top your guy didn't make it 2 years campaigning for these issues. You have to wait another 4 years to address when we can be cutting out the fat of all these bills that are going across Congress's desk. Vote on them at a local level, right here in this community, and it can be part of a national vote or whatever, depending on whatever the issue is. But that would force that. It would force that to be broken up and redistributed amongst a lot of.
And I'm saying, I think that sounds wonderful. But you always, I mean, the theoretical piece, sometimes so much easier to come up with than the mechanics of it.
Right.
If you get people who will volunteer their time, who's going to donate paper or gas money or blah, blah, blah. I mean, those are I hate to say it, but those are the nitty-gritty things that usually make those wonderful ideas collapse.
If it's a monetary issue, the money's there. It's just all going to the coffers of the politicians right now.
So you're saying anyone who would be donating money to a campaign donated to...
But that wouldn't happen.
Well, it's not...
Why wouldn't it happen?
Because those corporations wouldn't want to feed a system like that.
Right. They're not going to get anything.
That's their only choice at that.
They wouldn't.
They're not going to get anything back. If they feed it to those guys, that's why it was corrupt. Then they get there and then they award the contracts, etc.
Well, they donate money because they know they're going to get what they want.
It is wonderful. And I do believe there are a lot of people who are ready to do things like you're talking about. But when
I think it in effect breaks up the corporations at that point. They'd have to hire a whole department of people to figure out who these, or to connect with the people that those particular issues were important to. But then, if we're talking about a specific bill, unless it's just worded really vague, or it's designed to, misinform the public about an issue that would be important to a corporation, they're going to have to spend all kind of time and money trying to figure that out. You see what I'm saying? Connecting with the people in the local community to pass it here, to pass it there, to pass it here. They can't just whip stuff out at the national level with one stroke of the pen anymore. They would have to line up constituencies in every single community. It would bankrupt them. How could they afford to do that anymore? They'd have to get public support behind the bills that they're getting passed.
Yeah, and I think consumerism is
one
of our strongest weapons, if you will. I mean, nobody makes money unless people are using their products and buying into doing the consumerism thing. And I think, that's like you were saying with the whole banking thing. Some of these banks don't deserve customers.
And they're starting to be affected.
Yeah, they are a little bit. I think they're
and I mean,
left
and right.
Right. Those are the things to promote. I think a lot of times most of your regular citizens really don't know what the alternatives are. If you can organize, people to get some informational things about alternatives, I I think you would find a lot more people, you know, changing direction.
And that is one of the things we're doing. November 5th is National Transfer
Move Your Money Day.
Good.
And we've had a few rallies in Iowa City where we've gotten people to move their money.
Right on the spot, too. That lady yesterday closed her financial account and is now moving 2 mortgages. I mean, that's a lot of money right
That
there.
is, absolutely.
And that's just one person, and people are doing that all over the country.
Right.
We've had small business owners in Iowa City transfer loans, and I mean, that's money.
The way to do it, absolutely. Giving people enough, because that's the other thing, it's hard. You're a working person. You have to get up and go and, you know, pick up the kid and feed the dogs and you don't have a lot of time to sit and go through literature and read and know exactly how you can, you know, do alternatives. So I think condensing that in some way and getting that out is very immediate.
That kind of stuff put on Occupy Nation, Occupy Wall Street, things you can do now. I talked about that with Ted.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're putting it on Occupy Nation.
That's good. So that's what I should go to read more about it. Just go to Occupy.
Well, Occupy Nation is just a Iowa City thing. It's a secondary website. But like even Wall Street, like the Move Your Money Day is a big push. Consumerism. I mean, the whole point of the Occupy movement is to create dialogue that creates conversation.
Absolutely, like this.
Encourages individuals to change how they spend their money.
Right.
I can tell you what, in the last 30 days, my money hasn't been spent very much. And that's kind of nice. You know, I'm not going to Walmart. I'm not going to McDonald's.
Right.
I'm not feeding that giant.
What do you think will happen with the city folks who are doing this, you know, when the really cold weather comes?
They're like, I know Wall Street's on lockdown. There's some places getting winterized.
Really?
That are ready. I mean, in Iowa City, we have a 4-month permit. We're there till February 29th right now. So.
See, that's what scares me. I keep thinking there's such a good momentum going right now. You know, places like the Midwest.
Well, a lot of people can ignore this because we're just a bunch of hippies hanging out in the park, right? When the weather hits here, I think that will have
that will show the true dedication.
And then especially in the spring, then people are going to be like, well, shit, this is real.
But it's also part and parcel for the sign of the times, too, where you can't just protest and carry signs anymore. You can ignore protest. Everybody's got an issue. Everybody's got something.
Absolutely.
And the fact that
I know this guy, he was drunk and he
people really aren't paying attention.
Like he ran into the bridge.
I mean, it's not nobody's coming out, but there's a type of a person who will just sit on the couch and watch television.
Always.
They want things to change, but they're not going to listen.
That's why it's so hard to get these.
A lot of them think they're doing good and protesting online.
Yeah. You gotta get out.
Yeah, you do. You have to see numbers, like the Million Man March, all that stuff, you know.
There's a march on Washington being formed right now between a bunch of occupations that are going to head out to Washington on one day, too.
Can you imagine all the people that are involved in an occupation anywhere in the country, all coming to Washington, D.C., all going to, and doing it there, coming together?
Oh, wow.
It would be millions.
I mean, look at Oakland. After Scott Olson, Oakland's got thousands now. They went from hundreds to thousands overnight.
I haven't read anything about that.
Yeah, Scott Olson was a veteran for peace. He got hit in the head with a tear gas can, and then as they were carrying him off, the local Oakland PD started assaulting the medics that were carrying him off with tear gas.
Threw a flashbang right in the middle. I watched the video, like, there's a group of...
Yeah, like
a couple days ago.
Last Monday.
They don't let you do it.
And now there's thousands of people in Oakland that have come out.
Good. Yeah, sadly, sometimes it takes that type of...
Oh, yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
I had a lot of my friends back, because I was at the University of Iowa, and they sent us all home, which was very interesting. Right after Kent State happened, all those big 10, Madison, Iowa, we were given pass-fail grades because the semester wasn't even close to over, and they told us to get out of town. And it did change some things, because it was such a high. And they had burned the ROTC building. SDS was all over the place.
Nothing's going to change. We all agree change is needed, but nothing's going to change until we all come together and start arguing with each other.
Yeah, there has to be.
Raise awareness.
It's like I was saying last night. There's at some point it goes from the the complaining and pointing out the problems, and that's what people are getting educated about now. Is what the problems are, and there are a lot of them. And then it'll start rotating into where people will start talking about, well, since we got these problems and we've narrowed down some of these major issues, we run into the brainstorming of the solutions, possible solutions, and then those get narrowed down, and it's such a time process that it's one of those, can we get that kind of process done and moved and changed throughout this country in a fast enough time frame before it disintegrates on itself, and falls apart.
And that's kind of the problem with that, and we all know it just because we're adults, and that is the human ego effect.
Oh yeah, we've talked a lot about it.
How do you think that?
I'm telling you,
I got one.
That's a big part of it.
It really is.
That's a big part of it.
I think a lot of times people really are thinking in the same direction, but then their own personal.
Yep.
My
ego's been squashed in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
We all have the capacity to look at something and say, what can I get out of this? We all have that.
That's how we're trained.
Well,
whether it be money, power.
They narrowed our gratitude down to our family. I mean, I protect my family. I take care of my own. They narrowed our gratitude down to where we only feel like this is all I got to take care of it. As long as I take care of this right here, against everything else, and that's how they keep us separated when we're supposed to be taking care of our neighbor.
Well, we've let other people define what community is.
Yeah, we've let other people define it.
Barbecue days or barbecue roundups.
We're ruled by a bunch of patrol
The barbecue roundup.
That's community for
I know.
people.
I don't go.
Well, we have a different.
I've never gone to those.
That's another commercial venue for getting your money.
I can't hand out $20 for a rack of ribs. Sorry.
No.
We got to remember
$10
that.
to get it.
Thanks a lot, guys.
We get to decide what.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, and I think we, what you have to do is you do have to be open-minded to what each person
I went over there
in
and it was like
community.
Yeah, they might not, or it might.
But actually, I think what we were talking about is fundamental.
This right here needs to be happening.
Needs of
Everywhere.
people
Consistent.
and taking things away from people that
Outdoors.
shouldn't have things taken away from them.
Well, I can say that it's wrong. I'll speak for myself. Anytime there's a community event that I've noticed since I was a kid, most of the time it's just a fair type environment where
we don't want more
part
smoke.
of it is you go and spend
I'm wondering.
$50 with your family. It's not just get together and
Yeah,
like
we don't want to
when I was a
burn
kid,
it
you
because
could go
that'll
to,
be used when we need to start a fire, not
down
to
to
have a fire.
that was free.
Kindling.
All kinds of free events. There's
A lot of free
Cedar Rapids Reds. I don't know how many free calls.
Oh, yeah.
They had free ball game
didn't realize
nights all the
fire
time,
was
and that
actually
became
going
like
that
a popular thing. Now they got the Colonel Stadium, and I don't know that they even do that.
Hey, I think
hot
sports
to kill the
is a
smoke.
perfect reflection of where our society has gone. Really, when you think, as a kid, you could go to a Major League Baseball game. You knew all the players. You paid $4.50 or whatever. You spent the whole day and had fun. Now, these guys won't play for less than $1 trillion, and the owners need to make that back. So there's no kind of cohesion, allegiance.
No one does it just for the love of it.
No, and to go, a family
feel sorry
could not possibly go in Chicago. By the time you got down there, took a train or car, got into the stadium, if you had 2 kids,
$200.
taking 2 kids, I mean, it's a $300 day to go to a ball game in Chicago if you want to have a hot dog.